A rising number of large corporations are adopting the woke agenda that includes so-called climate goals, environmental and social governance, or ESG, and other far-left ideas. More recently, retail chain Target came under fire for selling LGBTQ-themed merchandise for children, which prompted calls for a boycott. Now, as a result of that controversy, Target stocks fell to its three-year low. Now, the National Center for Public Policy Research says conservative shareholder activists are planning to divest from three corporations who faced similar controversies in the past. This includes Walmart, Netflix, and Google parent company Alphabet. And to talk more about this, I want to bring in Scott Shepard. He's the director of Free Enterprise Project at the National Center for Public Policy Research. Scott, as always, good to see you.
Good to see you, Stella. How have you been?
Good. I'm glad we can talk about this. So the Free Enterprise Project has prepared several proposals to address discrimination in hiring and firing at large corporations. Now, it calls out left-wing hiring quotas that are apparently discriminatory. Can you tell us what this is all about?
Yeah, we all are beginning to understand better and better that so many American corporations, under pressure from investment house BlackRock, State Street, and the too big to fail banks that have no business discriminating against anybody, they're discriminating on the basis of race, sex, and orientation in violation of the Constitution. They're picking sides in the most important, most vital, and most hot button fights in America, including with Target giving over its storefronts to transgender supporting merchandise aimed at children, and bringing in the Satanists in support of transgenderism, which I don't think cuts the way that Target thinks it does. But so we're seeing bending the knee at these corporations to the far left, all the way across the board, in absolute agreement with the Biden administration. We're starting to see it cost corporations an absolute fortune.
Well, the proposals also mention, and I quote, corporate board incest. Apparently that's reducing management efficiency and may contribute to corruption. How exactly does that work?
Well, I mean, it's part and parcel of Larry Fink and Jamie Dimon and Brian Moynihan's attempts to control all of American corporations through their CEO offices, and claim that private control, that private emperor status, is the new capitalism. So what you see is all of these companies that are moving in lockstep to the left are moving in lockstep to the left in large part because they have the same members on their boards, right? You've got BlackRock employees sitting on boards of other companies, pretty much just telling them what to do because the clients of BlackRock are such big investors, and left-wing troublemakers on board after board after board. So one of the things we have to do to get real capitalism back in this country is to break up the corporate incest on corporate boards and have each company running itself for the benefit of its shareholders, not the left-wing political posture.
So you think they're being bullied into this? Is that what this is all about?
Well, it's interesting. Some of them, you look at Chip Bergh at Levi's, you'd think of that as a dynamic American company. No, he is a left-wing woke true believer, and he does it. He disregards his fiduciary duty and runs his company like a think tank because he's committed to those awful left-wing positions. But a lot of other CEOs we talk to are absolutely being bullied into doing things that they know are destructive for their companies, that they could be in line to have to pay for out of their personal pockets because they still have fiduciary duty for those companies, but they're being forced into it by Larry Fink at BlackRock and all these others. And keep in mind, one of the things they're forcing on these companies is to discriminate in the name of equity on the basis of race, sex, and orientation. Well, breaking the civil rights laws to discriminate in those ways and forcing other people to do it, that's a conspiracy to deny American civil rights. And I hope we see some of these left-wing activists disguised as CEOs go to jail for that.
Well, I want you to walk us through the several proposals that you made for the conservative shareholders. For example, Proposal 8 here says that it's aimed at Walmart, saying that the company must report on the racial and gender representation of the employees it lays off, while Proposal 6 targets Netflix, that apparently shares its board directors with other companies. Can you tell us more about this?
So the Walmart proposal is simple. Walmart has been very aggressive in patting itself on the back for the fact that it's embraced equity, that it's discriminating on the basis of race, sex, and orientation in hiring. Now, they have excuses for that, but the excuses don't matter at law. So what we've asked them for is, while you're busy reporting your diversity statistics as though that's great instead of violative of law, why don't you tell us in great detail the statistics of the people being laid off? If it turns out that there's statistical overrepresentation of men and white people in those groups, that's additional evidence that you're breaking the law, and that's something you have a duty to share with shareholders because it increases the potential risk and liability for the corporation.
I think this next thing I'm going to talk about is really important. Your proposal also mentions the corporate and government collusion. I mean, we know from the Twitter files, right, how the federal agencies coordinated their censorship efforts with big tech to suppress information about COVID-19, other political topics. But your proposal 7 specifically targets Google and YouTube. What's the U.S. government's role in the company's practices?
Well, the Biden administration has essentially been giving them instructions at Facebook, at Twitter before the transfer, at YouTube, which is owned by Google, owned by Alphabet. These companies are getting marching orders from this administration to take down various kinds of content and to call it misrepresentation or disinformation, when in fact everybody all along the line knows that what's being taken down are true, or at least protected opinion under the First Amendment. But the administration, it violates the administration narrative. It violates the left-wing ESG narrative. And so they take it down. And in saying that it's mis or disinformation, they're committing libel. They're committing slander against the people who they call liars.
Scott Shepard, as always, thank you for breaking it all down for us. I know we packed in a lot in a couple minutes, but as always, thank you, and keep us posted. Director of the Free Enterprise Project, Scott Shepard. Thanks again.